Imagine you walk into a store, you see a jacket with a price tag of $500. You think, wow, that's expensive. A salesman approaches. Good news. Today that jacket is only $200. Suddenly $200 feels like a fantastic deal. But why? You haven't compared it to other jackets, you haven't checked its quality. You only know one thing. It used to be $500. That first number became an anchor in your mind. It heavily influenced how you judged the second number. This is the anchoring effect. It's a strange but powerful mental shortcut. Our brains love shortcuts. They let us decide quickly without hard work. When facing a new decision about numbers, we grab the first number we see. We anchor our thinking to that initial value. Every other number is judged in relation to it. It doesn't matter if the first number is random. The anchoring effect isn't just a trick used in stores. It shows up in our daily lives in many surprising ways, often without us even noticing. Imagine you are negotiating a salary for a new job. If the employer's first offer is $50,000, that number immediately becomes the anchor for the entire conversation. You might try to negotiate for $55,000 or maybe $60,000, but it becomes psychologically difficult to ask for $80,000. The initial $50,000 offer has framed the discussion and limited the range of what feels possible. Consider another simple situation. A friend asks you to guess the population of a small city.
Do you think it's more or less than 20,000?
That number, 20,000, has now been planted in your head. Even if you know nothing about the city, your final guess will likely be much closer to 20,000 than it would have been otherwise. If he had asked, do you think it's more or less than 200,000? Your guess would likely be much higher. This bias also plays a huge role in real estate. When a real estate agent first shows a potential buyer an incredibly overpriced house, they are not necessarily trying to sell that specific property. They are setting a high anchor. After seeing a house listed for $900,000 that is clearly not worth it, a different house listed at $650,000 suddenly looks like a reasonable, even attractive deal. The agent has used the first house to change the buyer's perception of value. The $650,000 house is no longer being judged on its own merits, but in comparison to the ridiculously expensive anchor. Retail stores are masters of the anchoring effect. They have turned this psychological quirk into a science for boosting sales. One of the most common tricks is the original versus discounted price display. You see a sweater with a tag that says, was $120, now only $49.99. The $120 is the anchor. Your brain immediately latches onto that higher number, and the $49.99 price seems like an incredible bargain in comparison. Another powerful technique is called decoy pricing. Imagine you are buying a subscription for a service. You see two options, a basic plan for $50 and a premium plan for $120. Many people would choose the $50 plan. Now, what if the company adds a third option, a pro plan for $115? Suddenly, the premium plan at $120 seems much more appealing. It's only $5 more than the pro plan and offers more features. The pro plan is a decoy. Its main purpose is to make the most expensive option look like a great value. Luxury brands are built almost entirely on the concept of high anchors. A handbag from a high-end designer might cost $3,000. A watch might cost $10,000. These prices are not just based on materials and labor. They are strategic anchors designed to establish a perception of extreme quality, exclusivity, and status. When a brand sets such a high price anchor across its entire product line, it creates an aura of luxury. Even their cheaper items, like a $200 wallet, seem more valuable and desirable because they exist in the context of the $3,000 handbag. The high anchor of the hero products elevates the perceived value of the entire brand. Finally, think about how items are arranged on a shelf or a web page. So why are our brains so susceptible to this trick? The answer lies in our natural desire to avoid uncertainty. When faced with a question like, what is a fair price for this watch? We often have no idea. The first number we see provides a starting point, solid ground in a sea of uncertainty. It feels like a helpful clue, so our brain grabs onto it. We then make adjustments from that anchor. But our adjustments are almost always too small. We're mentally lazy. Sticking close to the anchor takes less effort than starting from scratch. Emotions also play a big role. A high original price next to a low sale price triggers excitement and accomplishment. We feel smart, like we're winning. The anchor creates an emotional story, getting a great deal. That rush can cloud our judgment. We focus on savings, not the real price. Anchors also skew our sense of what's fair. Menu example: steak, $75. Pasta, $35. The pasta looks reasonable against the steak, not evaluated in isolation. Hotel coffee, $5. Feels fine. Diner coffee, $5. Feels like a ripoff. Once an anchor is set, our brains hunt for confirming evidence. See a high-priced wine. Assume it's high quality. Notice elegant labels and fancy descriptions you might have ignored. The anchor directs attention and builds a story that justifies the number. The anchoring effect is everywhere, once you start looking for it. Black Friday is a perfect example of anchoring on a massive scale. Stores spend weeks advertising enormous original prices and doorbuster deals. A television might be advertised with a list price of $1,500, marked down to $700 for one day only. That $1,500 is a powerful anchor designed to create a sense of urgency and immense value. Shoppers feel an intense pressure to buy now, driven by the fear of losing out on a massive discount. Restaurants use anchoring in a more subtle but equally effective way on their menus. They will often place a very expensive item at the top of a section. You might see a seafood tower for two, priced at $150. You probably won't order it, but its presence makes the $42 lobster risotto or the $38 sea bass seem much more reasonably priced by comparison. The expensive decoy item serves as an anchor that makes everything else on the menu look like a better deal. The menu is not just a list of food, it is a carefully engineered document designed to guide your spending. The world of technology is another playground for anchors. When a company like Apple or Samsung launches a new flagship smartphone, they often introduce a top-of-the-line Ultra or Pro Max model for a very high price, perhaps $1,400. This sets an incredibly high anchor for the latest technology. Suddenly, the standard model at $900 seems like the sensible, mainstream choice. The anchor set by the premium model makes the base model appear more accessible and affordable, driving sales for the product they expect most people to buy. The launch event is as much about setting price perceptions as it is about showcasing new features. This mental glitch even extends to the high-stakes world of investing. So how do we protect ourselves from this powerful bias? The first and most important step is awareness. Simply knowing that the anchoring effect exists is half the battle. When you see a price, especially the first one, ask, is this number influencing me? Is it an anchor? Questioning helps you detach and think critically. But awareness alone is not enough. We need practical strategies. Do your own research before you look at prices. Before shopping for a laptop, decide what features you need. Decide what you believe is a fair price. Set your own anchor based on budget and needs. If you're willing to spend about $700, a model marked down from $1,500 to $900 won't feel like a bargain. It will look $200 over your budget. Always compare prices across multiple stores and websites. One store's price is a single data point. Look at several retailers to see the real market value. This dilutes any single anchor. $200 at one store, $180 elsewhere, $175 elsewhere, $190 elsewhere. Decide from the real price range, not a single $300 anchor. The more info you gather, the less power one price has. Introduce a cooling-off period for bigger buys. If you feel the emotional pull of a deal, step away. Wait an hour, or even a day. Ask, if the original price was never mentioned, would I still pay this sale price? Understanding the anchoring effect is like being given a secret decoder ring for the world of commerce. Suddenly you start to see the hidden machinery behind the prices you encounter every day. The crossed-out original prices, the absurdly expensive decoy items on a menu, the premium tier products at a launch event all snap into focus. They are no longer just numbers. They are deliberate strategies designed to shape your perception of value and guide your hand toward your wallet. This knowledge is not cynical, it is empowering. It transforms you from a passive participant into an informed and discerning consumer. By recognizing these tricks, you can begin to neutralize their power. You can learn to ignore the flashy 70% off signs and instead focus on the final price. You can train yourself to evaluate a product based on its intrinsic worth to you, not on the artificial context created by a marketer. This shift in mindset has a profound impact on your financial well-being. It means you buy things because you truly need or want them and believe they are worth the price, not because you were tricked by a clever psychological nudge. Every dollar you save by avoiding an anchor-induced impulse buy is a dollar you can use for something more important. It is the key to moving from being a predictable consumer to being a smarter, more empowered individual.